and you were to use the word belief or believe or even the word faith, they would say, huh? Huh? What do you mean? The word belief and the word faith does not equal the word, concept, idea that was found in the original text that they translated, you understand, into English. So the King James Version is basically for us who are linguistically handicapped, and it's for you all who are linguistically handicapped. Because if you was not linguistically handicapped, you would know that the word AMIN, the word AMIN from the root mamen, and amine was what was used within the ancient Hebrew, within the ancient Ethiopic, within the language of the scriptures. So this is very important when you think about it, because if the word teaches us that it's impossible to please, quote, God, end quote, or Elohim, ha Elohim, that it was impossible to please God without faith, the word faith was not there. There was another word that was there. And see, what's very important about this is it's a paradigm shift. This is all about a paradigm shift, about a consciousness shift. Now, some will believe that when we say Amen, that we're speaking about the so-called God of ancient Egypt, 3000 BCE. They don't understand that we're speaking about that hidden one. You understand? When we say the hidden one, this is because this is how it was translated. This is how the priests, the Heliopolitan priests and the Egyptian orthodoxy, and there was an Egyptian orthodoxy, just like the Sadducees and Pharisees had the Sanhedrin, so the Egyptians had their own form of that, whether you want to call them the magicians or the Heliopolitan priesthood or whatever particular name you want to give them, they had their own orthodoxy. So by the time we get to 3000 BCE, we're getting to another Egypt. You know what I'm saying? By this time, the true meaning of Amen, you know what I'm saying, had already been lost, had already been suppressed, had already been covered up by religion, Egyptian orthodoxy of religion. You understand? And there was an Egyptian orthodoxy of religion. There was what they would call a state religion. So most people believed as they were so-called told to believe. And that idea that we know as belief and faith is equal to what they believe and they had faith in. But the true meaning of Amen was only known and preserved amongst the Hebrew Israelites, among the Ethiopian Hebrews, and among certain remnant peoples who still comprehended what Amine means. So now we in this present time, space, and reality have to also come to an understanding. Some people say, well, if you want to believe that, or that's your belief, well, I'm not dealing with belief, I'm dealing with facts. We're not even just dealing with just so-called subjective or objective facts in that sense. We're dealing with Amen. We Amen, not believe. It's very important for you to understand this level of consciousness. You know what I'm saying? And you can only really receive it by studying the information, by studying the facts, by studying the linguistics, by studying the language. You know what I'm saying? And when you compare that with the etymology of believe and belief and even faith within, say, Webster's Collegiate Dictionary, look in the etymological brackets. Don't worry about the connotation. Connotations, whatever way society twisted for its relative time. So like the word bad means good and good means bad. Don't go for the connotation. Get to the etymology. Etymology, etymos means true and logos means word or logic. So we need the true logic. And the word belief and the word faith, you understand, is no longer suitable, you understand, for one who is in a higher level of consciousness. So therefore we can't say that we believe in Adonenu Yehoshua HaMoshiach. No, we Amen in Adonenu Yehoshua HaMoshiach. We Amen in Getachin Jesus Christos. We Amen in the Metzav Kedus in the Holy Scriptures. And it's very important that we emphasize that. It's mainly important for our consciousness that we emphasize it. Because otherwise, we're learning one thing over here about the true word was not believe and believe or faith, but it actually comes from Amen, and Amen means to accept as true, to accept as real. You understand? It's a metaphysical state of mind. You see, the word AMIN doesn't really translate so easy as faith and belief. Because if you ask somebody, well, what is faith and belief? They will tell you one thing, they'll tell you something else. But then if you look up the etymology of faith and belief, you'll notice something interesting. How come the etymology of faith and belief is different from what even the preacher is telling you? Even the preacher doesn't understand what the real true word or true logic of that word is, much less what word was there before it was translated. Does the translated word equals the same idea or concept as the original word that was used there? See, this will clear up so much scripturally for so many of us. This clears up so much scripturally. This explains certain parts of the scriptures which seem like puzzles, or seems like enigmas, seems like paradoxes, areas of scripture which seems like that become very easy. Because when you understand the original word, sound, and authority or power, the word of power, you understand the Haile that they use was AMIN. So therefore, if we say that we are in that same metaphysical consciousness, we also must AMIN. And we first must learn, what does AMIN mean? What is the real meaning of the word AMIN? You understand? So when we say we AMIN this, or we AMIN that, are we talking about a so-called idol? Are we talking about a so-called statue? Are we talking about a certain Heliopolitan, Orthodox, Egyptian priesthood interpretation, or really a misinterpretation? Because as any historian of Egyptology would tell you, there's a big difference between 8000 BCE Egypt and 3000 BCE Egypt. If you don't know, there's a difference. And most of the information that we have been led to believe and have been given has been attributed to the 3000 BCE Egypt. And they have covered up, they have denied or avoided to teach the masses that actually ancient Egypt roots are thousands of years older than what they tell you in their popular miseducation and disinformation campaign. So we need to get to the root of it. We don't believe. You understand? We AMIN. We don't have belief or beliefs. We have AMIN. From AMIN to AMIN.